Good morning and welcome back to Egypt Through the Ages. Today we have an interesting discovery of King Tutankhamun, a king from around 1324 BC, although his rule was notable for reversing the tumultuous religion reform of his father, Pharaoh Akhenaten. Tutankhamun's legacy was largely negated by his successor. So there's a burning question that we all want to ask. How did King Tut die? Here we have with us archaeologists Shara and Tia to explain to us the theory we have of King Tutankhamun.
So many have speculated answers about King Tutankhamun's death, but there aren't any records of how he died. We found out that King Tutankhamun had suffered severe trauma on his left torso and side.
Could you tell us why Tutankhamun's tomb is different from the others?
Another unusual feature was the walls themselves. The decorations of the tomb were really sparse. The burial chamber is the only one that was decorated compared to the other chambers. There were figures that were really large, and there were spaces where there was nothing written on the walls. The death mask is considered one of the masterpieces of Egyptian art. It was originally rested directly on the shoulders of the mummy inside the innermost gold coffin. He holds a crook and a flail, symbol of king's rights to rule. Like all Egyptian kings, King Tutankhamun went through a mummification process when the embalmers found his heart missing, backing up the suspicion of his injury on his left torso, which was severely damaged. Most embalmers will not remove the heart as they believe that the heart is a seat of intellect of emotions, character of your soul, and that's why the heart was needed to enter the afterlife.
Thank you so much, Tia, for explaining to us what you guys have found over the years. We will catch you up in a bit right after this short break. Welcome back to Egypt Through the Ages. And so now that we know more about King Tut's death, we also want to know why King Tut does not have a heart, just like the rest of the royal family. They always say, the heart is where you can get a seat in the afterlife. Why is it so peculiar that King Tut does not have a heart?
His coffin was tucked away in the basement of the Valley of the Kings. Inside this valley, there are honeycombs of tombs belonging to other ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Below, there was a modest tomb with 4 tiny chambers. One section of the wall was actually cut off to fit the tomb in, as it was clearly not designed to fit such huge shrines in such a small space. King Tut was laid in a series of nested containers: 3 golden coffins, a granite sarcophagus, and 4 gilded wooden shrines.
Alright, so after being buried, there was speculation that the mummy was burned by the archaeologists. Is that true?
To answer this question, this mystery has still been unsolved for almost 90 years. But in Robert Connell's office, we have a piece of Tutankhamun's flesh. Tutankhamun's sample was used for blood grouping purposes, so to continue research, Robert had another mummy which was also around the 18th century, as close as King Tut's era. He took both tissues and compared them to discover their chemical composition to see if they would match. After the scanning, it was confirmed through the graphs that the blackening of Tutankhamun's flesh was indeed due to burning. It was true that Howard Carter did actually roast the mummy on a row of prime stoves to get it off the base plate, but it would probably need higher temperatures to create the charring on the surface of King Tut's face.
Thank you so much, Shara, for joining us here today to explain in details of King Tutankhamun's history. That's all for today's episode. I'm Jia Jie, and we'll catch you tomorrow on Egypt Through the Ages.